Graham Mack Breakfast Show.
The Pope arrives in the UK this morning. Keith Porteous Wood is Executive Director of the National Secular Society, which is publicising a campaign called Protest the Pope.
Good morning.
What have you got against the Pope?
Well, we have against him that we don't believe that he should have been invited by the government in an official state visit because of his regressive social policies and because of his appalling treatment of child abuse in his church.
Your organisation is the National Secular Society. How many members have you got?
We've got, I think, the views that we are expressing at the moment by the polls that have come out in the last 2 or 3 days are the majority views of the country. And there are
how many members has the National Secular Society got?
The point is the message that we're giving. We're a pressure group. And
that's not what I asked you. I asked you how many members.
I heard what you asked.
Well, then answer the question.
The point is that it's much more important the views on the moral teachings of the church are only shared by a very small proportion of Catholics, 5% on contraception, and the harm that does for poverty and
I'm not sure why asking that question has made you so angry, but I'm going to ask you again because it's clearly an important question. How many members do the National Secular Society have?
It's not relevant to the message that we're giving.
I was just wondering how big your organisation is.
We're a whole group of organisations involved in Protest the Pope.
Is it more or less than 20?
That's just a silly point. I just don't want to engage with that. So I just can't understand.
And I don't understand why you won't answer what should be a simple question. You've got an organisation. I heard you had 12 members. Is that true?
I'm not even going to answer that rather silly question.
OK, well, I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
Oh.
What have potholes and custard got in common? You'll find out soon. Back in the middle of July, Swindon Borough Council promised to fix all the winter potholes by mid-August. Here's what Jackie Moyles from the council's Street Smart team told me 2 months ago.
We visited 65% of the streets in Swindon, the residential streets, and we fix the potholes as we find them.
And you'll have 100% of the potholes fixed by when?
We're the next 3 to 4 weeks, we should hope.
So in 4 weeks' time, there'll be no potholes in Swindon?
There may well be new potholes, I'm afraid. I mean, that's...
But none of the old ones?
But the old ones should have gone.
Well, 4 weeks later, the old ones were still there. It didn't happen. And a month later, in the August, Councillor Keith Williams came into the studio.
The current potholes, within a month, those potholes will be fixed.
Will you come back in a month?
I will come back in a month.
Right,
you can hold me to that.
Right, now we're talking. True to his word, 2 weeks ago, Councillor Williams, a month on from that chat, came back into the studio. This is what happened then. Keith Williams, do we have all of those potholes fixed yet?
As of the end of August, I'm very pleased to say all those potholes from last winter are fixed.
Now that's good news.
Thank you.
How about this then for a challenge? Would you drive with a bowl of custard on your lap along any Swindon road that anyone wants to nominate this morning?
I think I probably would.
You would?
I would.
OK. We got someone on the phone. Lynn from Rodbourne, good morning.
Morning.
Do you want to talk about potholes?
Oh, I was fed up with talking about potholes. We had one outside our house for nearly 2 years. Got in touch and they were down the next morning to fix it. They haven't touched the rest of the road. It still ruins the cars, doesn't it?
What road's this, Lynn?
Redcliffe Street. OK,
so that's the road you're going to be driving down, Keith. Bowl of custard. You happy to do that? You happy to do that? That's the road?
Are you happy to hold the bowl for me, Lynn?
Yes, I'll hold the bowl.
Right, that's it. Right, we'll get that set up. Thank you very much, Lynn, and thank you very much, Keith, because now we really are going to find out, aren't we? So, last week, I headed down to Redcliffe Street, along with Councillor Keith Williams and Lynn from Rodbourne, and our adjudicator, producer, Richard Crowley.
This is Councillor Keith Williams. This is
Hello,
Lynn.
Spoke on the radio. Good morning.
Lynn from Rodbourne, as we call you on the radio.
It's me.
Lynn from Rodbourne, so what do you think?
Well, the road's terrible.
Councillor, are you confident we can drive along this road without spilling any custard?
Well, I'm here this morning, so what does that say? I will say, Lynn, that this road is one of the worst roads we do have in Swindon, and that has actually been recognised. And what we're actually planning to do this year, this is completely unrelated with me being here today, this road is actually due to be resurfaced, parts of it, this year. Because as a result of the winter
It's just
damage,
a coincidence, yeah?
that is absolutely a coincidence, honestly. Honest to truth, yeah. It's actually partly because of the damage last year, and because we've got quite large areas where there is damage, it's not really suitable for actually putting pothole repairs in. So there's actually an area of resurfacing being done here later on this year.
Yeah, well, I'll believe it when I see it.
If you can't trust a politician, who can you trust?
No, don't start me on that, please.
So, the introductions are out of the way. Still to come this morning, we'll check the consistency of the custard and drive along Redcliffe Street. Find out if any of the custard spills on Councillor Keith Williams' lap this morning on Swindon's BBC Wiltshire. Voting starts today to select the next Labour leader. We've already heard from candidates Andy Burnham, Ed Balls and David Miliband, who all visited Swindon in recent weeks. This morning, we're joined by Ed Miliband. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Graham. Nice to be with you.
Why can't you and your brother David decide which one of you should go for the leadership?
Oh, well, like a deal between Brown and Blair, you mean, in 1994. I'm not sure that did us much good, or the country much good, in the sense that I think it would have been better if both of them had stood and sort of got that out of the way. I think it's right that I'm standing in this election. I offer a distinctive message, which is about the need for Labour to change and move on from New Labour. I think I'm the candidate who recognises the votes we lost at the election from our working class supporters and our middle class supporters, and the need to change on some key aspects of policy, like the fact that people are stuck in low-paid work, that we made a mistake on tuition fees on Iraq, for example. And I think unless we have the courage to change, which I think I'm the person that's shown that, we won't win back power.
But you can't even work things out with your own brother. How can you bring unity to the Labour Party?
Oh, I think we will have unity if I'm the leader, if anyone is the leader, whoever is the leader, after September the 25th. It's a good, clean contest. It is fraternal. I think actually the media has been struck by it's been mostly a civilised and friendly contest. But in the end, there's a fundamental disagreement, I think, about the scale of change we need. Tony Blair says we've just got to keep going with New Labour, not move a millimetre away from it. I think that's wrong, frankly. I think there are things that are right about New Labour. For example, we've got to appeal to all sections of society. But if we think that the 1990s formula will work 20 years later, I think we're mistaken.
But there'd be no New Labour if the original Labour worked.
Well, New Labour was a necessary response to Labour's defeat. But again, now that we've lost in 2010, we need to move on again. And you always have an older generation who will say, look, we've just got to stick with the way things were. But unless we change, and unless we kind of, if you like, move on from the ghosts of the past, of the 1980s, I don't think we're going to win again.
You were close to Gordon Brown. Tony Blair's described Gordon Brown as difficult, at times maddening. Is that something you recognise?
No, I think it's what happens in a marriage or a relationship that's quite rocky, which is what Tony Blair and Gordon Brown had. And to be honest, I'm much less interested in talking about the past and who said what to whom than I am in talking about the future and how Labour needs to change, to listen to people as to why we lost, to move on from the New Labour establishment in order to win again. And that's what my candidacy is about.
But if the book makes Gordon look like a goose, that's going to hurt you, though, isn't it?
I don't know what the impact this book will have, to be honest. I think most people will think we honour Tony Blair's contribution, but really we're more interested in the future of the Labour Party and what it's got to say about the future than political memoirs. And I think people are right about that.
Lord Mandelson's warned you could take the party up an electoral cul-de-sac. What's he on about?
I think that, as I say, you've got a New Labour establishment that doesn't want me to win. And I think it shows they're rattled. And I think it shows that my campaign, which is about why we need to change the political party and not remain stuck in the past, is having an effect. And it's speaking to people right up and down this country who saw some good things that New Labour did, but saw some mistakes they made. And I'm the candidate with the honesty and courage to reflect that and to understand that. And that's why I think my candidacy is gaining support up and down this country.
Andy Burnham, Ed Balls and your brother David Miliband have all been to Swindon during the leadership campaign. Why haven't you?
Well, I've tried to go around as many parts of the country as possible. Now that you've pointed that out, I will try and come to Swindon before the end of this campaign. But it's certainly, if I'm the Labour leader, even if I'm not, I will certainly be visiting Swindon because I think it's a very, very important place to come and to be seen in.
How important is it to win back Swindon?
Oh, it's very, very important because the loss of 2 seats over time in Swindon was something that indicated the way that Labour was losing touch with people, and Swindon is a crucial battleground area, and it's something I'll be making a priority in the future.
Where is Anne Snellgrove now?
I think she's running Ed Balls' campaign, isn't she?
Does that bother you?
Not at all. I think Anne's a great colleague, and you know, there's no bitterness in this contest. There's just a difference of view, and as I say, I think I'm the candidate who understands the scale of change that Labour needs.
Have you seen today's Daily Mirror?
I have.
You know what it says, don't you?
Yeah, they're supporting my brother, but in the end, I think that it's voters who make the decision, not newspapers. And
did that surprise you, though? Because your politics are to the left of your brother's, and the Daily Mirror does lean that way. Wouldn't you have thought they would have supported you?
Well, they've got nice things to say about my campaign, but I think David has a long-standing relationship with the Daily Mirror, and they make their choice. But I think what's more important than what a newspaper says is what the voters say. And I think people make up their own minds. And I think people are responding to my campaign and the change that I want to bring to Labour. And in the end, that is the choice at this election, whether we have the courage to change as a political party and be honest and recognise our mistakes. And let's see what happens.
Ed Miliband, thanks for talking to me this morning on Swindon's BBC Wiltshire. 2 weeks ago, the councillor responsible for parking and streets in Swindon, Keith Williams, came on this programme. He told me all the potholes in Swindon had been fixed. So I challenged him to drive down a road chosen by one of our listeners with a bowl of custard on his lap. Keith was up for the challenge, so last Thursday we took him along to Redcliffe Street. I was joined by Lynn from Rodbourne and producer Richard Crowley. What's the official depth of a pothole in Swindon?
It's 21 millimetres.
Okay, so we'll make sure that it's about just under an inch. So you're allowed to have it so it's just under an inch from the top.
Pretty thick to me.
Does look pretty
thick. I know it's
custard.
Who's going to drive? Can I drive?
I think.
In fact, Lynn, who would you like to drive?
I don't mind who drives.
Right, I'll drive.
Yeah.
We'll put the councillor in the passenger seat.
Absolutely.
Lynn, do you want to go in the back with Richard?
Yes, please.
Oh. You've pulled. So, we're in the car, we're ready to go. Hear what happened as I drove along Redcliffe Street with the councillor in the passenger seat with a bowl of custard. It's coming up this morning on Swindon's BBC Wiltshire. Can you tell the difference between Swindon and Delhi? I've been out with photos. Where are you from, Mary?
Cricklade.
Now, these photographs are either of building work in Swindon town centre or the unfinished athletes' village at the Delhi Commonwealth Games. Do you think you'd be able to tell the difference?
Should be able to.
Okay,
yes.
well, let's try. Let's see. So here's photograph number 1. Is that Swindon or Delhi?
That's Swindon.
Where do you know where it is?
That's down the bottom there.
It's actually over there. It's the college building. Here comes photograph number 2. Now, as you can see, you can just describe what you can see in the photo there.
Unfinished pavements, cars, rubble, pipes, and I think that's Swindon.
You think that's Swindon? You're
Yes.
right again. You're right again. Well, you're good at this game. Okay, let's try this one. What do you got in that one? And what do you think it is?
A wall that looks as though it's not completed. Delhi.
No, that's Swindon as well. Hi there, what's your name?
Philip.
Philip, where are you from?
Old Town in Swindon.
From Old Town? Yeah, and you've come down to New Town. What do you think of the town centre and all the work that's going on here?
This is a terrible mess, isn't it, at the moment?
You think so?
Yes.
All you have to do is guess which pictures are Delhi and which are Swindon.
I see, yes.
Ready to play?
Yes, indeed.
Here we go, here comes the first one. Where's that?
Delhi.
You're going to go with Delhi? That is Swindon. That's the actual old college building just up the corner.
Oh, I see. Oh, yes, so it is.
Okay, not off to a very good start, but it's still early yet. Let's see this picture. Just explain to me what you can see in the picture first.
Oh, lots of. It looks as if it's this pathway in the middle here, but going down the middle of Swindon's New Town. That's Swindon.
You're going to say Swindon? That one is Swindon. Yes, you can tell the difference between that one and Delhi. Okay, let me try you with this one. What can you see in that one?
Well, I think that's Delhi, because I think it's like the picture I saw on television the other day.
It's actually Swindon Town Centre. It's the new building they're trying to build up there. Hello there. What's your name?
Prakash.
Prakash, where are you from?
India.
India. You're from India.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You're the first person from India. And what are you doing in Swindon?
Swindon I'm working.
You're working? What do you do?
Royal Mail.
So you're postie?
Yeah.
Okay. This picture here, is that Delhi or Swindon?
I think Delhi. No, Swindon.
Oh, you nearly went with Delhi. You say it was Swindon?
Swindon.
It is Swindon. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Let's try this one here.
I think Delhi.
You got a wall there, some scaffolding?
Yes, Delhi.
You're going to go with Delhi?
Delhi.
Certain?
Yeah, sure.
That's Swindon.
Swindon?
It's just down the road there. It's the BHS building. The new leader of the Labour Party, Ed Miliband, makes his key speech at the party conference in Manchester today. Harriet Harman is the party's deputy leader. She was in charge during the leadership election. She's on the line from Manchester for me now. Good morning, Harriet.
Good morning.
Is Ed Miliband the right choice for leader?
Absolutely. It was a very narrow contest, a narrow victory, because we had a lot of good candidates, and obviously David Miliband attracted a great deal of support, but the party's chosen, and I think people feel very firmly that the contest is now over and it's time to move forward with our new leader.
So why did you nominate Diane Abbott?
Because I didn't want there to be a men-only contest. I think that we think it's very important that women have a voice in the Labour Party, and that all the hustings all around the country involve lots of party members, big meetings, and I didn't want it only to be a men-only show. So Diane became a candidate, and I think she raised a lot of issues that were very important to be raised, so I'm very pleased that I nominated her, but I didn't vote for her. I didn't vote for anybody, because I was going to have to be deputy to whoever was elected.
Nominating her is a bit more. That's a personal endorsement. I mean, so you think that Ed is absolutely the right guy?
David Miliband nominated her as well.
Would you rather have had a woman than the bloke who is absolutely right?
No, I think Ed is absolutely an excellent choice, and we've got a leadership team with him the leader and me as the deputy, so we've got a balanced team. We've got women and men in the Labour Party in the House of Commons and in our councils, and politics used to be a men-only business, and many of the issues that are of concern to women, like how you balance going out to work and looking after children, how you crack down on domestic violence, all those things does need women's voices to raise them. We're better if we're a balanced team of women and men.
How can a bloke that opposed his own brother and has risked splitting his own family bring unity to Labour?
Well, he didn't so much as oppose his brother.
Well, yes, he did.
No, what he did is he put himself forward in a contest, and everybody is perfectly entitled to put their hat in the ring. If they've got enough support, they can put their hat in the ring, and that's what he did.
Wouldn't it have been more mature for the two of them just to decide which one of them's going to run and for the other one to support that one this time round?
Well, I think that that people don't want things arranged behind closed doors. I think that they want there to be a contest between all of those who've got the ability to stand, and then the party gets to choose, and that's what's happened. I mean, I know that this contest has been particularly riveting because it's had 5 good candidates, 2 of whom are brothers, and that has obviously been a very unusual situation and attracted a lot of attention. But ultimately they're 2 MPs who put themselves forward amongst the contest. One of them's won, and really Ed has got a big task now ahead of him to learn the lessons of why we lost the seats that we did in the House of Commons, make sure that we strongly hold the Tory government to account for the promises that they've made but are breaking, and that we set out our vision for the future. I mean, it is disappointing. We lost both seats in Swindon. We lost a good MP in Anne Snellgrove. We didn't win the other Swindon seat either. We've got to learn the lessons of that, and that's going to be starting now with Ed's speech.
OK, you mentioned the Labour performance in Swindon, and it's not been great. We've lost the 2 Labour seats. They're now Conservative. We've got a Conservative-controlled council. The Conservative council in Swindon has removed all the speed cameras. What's your view on that?
Well, I worry about that because I think that it will cost injuries and will cost lives. I mean, all the evidence is that high speed is dangerous for pedestrians, and I just think that there was a fuss in from some organisations and from some newspapers, and I think that Conservative councils that have given in to that are going to put at risk pedestrians. So I think it's a mistake. But
so speeding is wrong.
They'll see the error. Well, I thought you were going to get to that. Hopefully they'll see the error of their ways, as have I.
In 2003, you were fined £400 and banned for 7 days after being caught doing 99 miles an hour on the M4 in Wiltshire.
I have learned my lesson from that, and I am absolutely fixed on the speedometer now, and I very much regretted that, and I accepted I was wrong, apologised, pleaded guilty, and I've not speeded since, nor will I.
Harriet Harman, have a good conference and enjoy the new bloke's speech.
Thank you.
So last week I headed down to Redcliffe Street along with Councillor Williams and Lynn from Rodbourne and our adjudicator producer Richard Crowley. Here's what happened when we drove down the road.
It's the top half from here to the post box.
So from here to the post box, that'll do me. So the post box is the end of the test.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Okay. I love your confidence.
I've got a bowl of custard in my lap. Bring it on.
Okay, the bowl of custard is between the councillor's legs right now. Okay, hands on head for the entire test. He's putting his hands on his head. We've got Richard Crowley here, the official adjudicator, and the official witness is Lynn from Rodbourne. Okay, so here we go. We're engaging first gear, and we're about to set off. I'm just going to let that rover go. Okay, here we go. Let's see. And Richard, you're going to have to keep your eye on the custard because I have to keep my eye on the road. How does it look?
It's looking good at the moment. It's wobbling.
We're only doing 10 miles an hour though.
It's wobbling a little bit.
Really get closer to the legal speed than I would have thought.
Keep in.
So keep in. Are you saying, Lynn? In right here? Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit bumpy here.
It's a bit bumpy here.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Still doing less than 20 miles an hour though, so
Not too fast, I think because you can't go fast.
You can't go fast down here. Okay,
That's the worst bit there.
Which is the worst bit? That bit there?
Yeah.
We get to the post box and we stop here. Oh! The custard has just made it over the edge of the bowl, but the councillor doesn't have any on him. He has none on him. He's true to his word. He has proved that the potholes in Swindon are in such a condition you can drive down any street in Swindon with a bowl of custard on your lap and you'll be fine.
Please don't invite me back on your show, Graham.
Lynn, are you going to shut up whinging about this road now?
No.
An emergency stop at the
A Christmas wish on BBC Wiltshire.
I want to make your Christmas the best ever. We've got no money, but we've teamed up with the Swindon Advertiser, and with your help, who knows what we can achieve. A fortnight ago, I spoke to Kate Field on the show. She told me about her Christmas wish.
I was burgled at the end of last week, and the people that came in have stolen a number of things, including my son's Christmas present, including a bike. So, yeah, it's just a really terrible time, I'm sorry.
So all the Christmas presents have gone?
Not well, there was... I'd been staggering the Christmas presents. I'm a working single mum, and I've been saving over a period of time, and that's what was taken.
That was Kate Field when she called up and told us about what a lousy time she's having this Christmas. Ashley Heath is at the house now with Kate and her son Harrison, who's 3 going on 4. Good morning, Ashley.
Hi, good morning, Graham. Yes, I'm in the living room with Kate and Harrison, who's playing on his bus driver's steering wheel, and he's taken us on a journey all around Swindon. And really, that's the extent of the joy in this household at the moment, because, as you quite rightly said, and as we've heard Kate explain, she was the victim of a burglary. Kate is with me. Kate, if you'd like to step over here, please. Kate, I'm sorry to walk you through it again, but for the benefit of those listeners who don't know the story yet, what happened before Christmas?
About 3 weeks ago, I came home to find my back door had been broken into and lots of possessions taken, including my television, my Hoover, a DVD camera with a disc in of Harrison's first Christmas, his first birthday. I think his first steps might have been on there as well. And also Harrison's Christmas present, his bike.
Kate, it's Graham Mack from Swindon's BBC Wiltshire. How are you this morning?
Not too bad.
Now, we know there's good news on the bike because your parents have sorted that out. But you've got no TV. Your whole Christmas it's gone. How's it making you feel?
It's awful. In the house at the moment, it's just really tired. It's not so bad during the day when Harrison's awake, but obviously once he goes to bed, the house is really quiet, and you obviously pick up on every noise that's in there. So,
what would it take for your Christmas wish to come true?
A miracle.
Why don't you go out the door and have a quick look at what's out there?
Can hear it now.
Oh my goodness.
We've got the team there from the Swindon Concert Band making it feel extra Christmassy for you. Kate, that's the Swindon Concert Band. They've come to your house.
Oh my goodness.
We've also got you a brand new television, thanks to John Lewis. It's a 32-inch Samsung flat screen TV. Asda have helped us out there. They've got you a hamper. That's got your Christmas pudding, your gingerbread, your groceries. We've got a DVD player and perfume. We've got you Panto tickets for the Wyvern Theatre. We know you've lost some memories, but the Wyvern Theatre heard about this, and they're going to make some nice new memories for you. We've got your tickets to see Peter Pan starring Paul Nicholas.
Oh, brilliant.
How's that for you?
That's absolutely amazing, thank you.
Have we made your Christmas wish come true?
Yes, you have, yes.
That's great. Kate, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
And thanks to everyone that made this Christmas wish come true. And I think the Swindon Concert Band can play us out with Ding Dong Merrily on High. Merry Christmas from Swindon's BBC Wiltshire.
The Graham Mack Breakfast Show
on Swindon's BBC Wiltshire.